He's also hit a couple of home runs. And Kwan pops the ball into left field here. Routine for Ramon Laureano, tonight's Oriole left fielder.
Yeah, take a look at the Oriole defense here at Camden Yards. Laureano, terrific left fielder. Mullins can run him down with the best of them. O'Neill over and right. Westberg, Henderson, Mateo. Mountcastle over at first base. Every year seems to get nominated for a Gold Gloves finalist. And then you talked about Gary Sanchez doing the catching. Adley Rutschman will be the DH.
A nice breaking ball sweeps into Jose Ramirez, the perennial MVP contender. 6 of his 11 hits for extra bases on the young year. And Ramirez shoots his high fastball to left. Playable for Laureano again. Drifting to his left as the wind picked up to retire Jose Ramirez.
Yeah, the wind was really gusting. It's kind of died down, at least at the ballpark, blowing out to left field. Now it's kind of blowing out towards center. You don't see the wind affect the ball very much here at Camden Yards, but today, yeah, kind of coolish. Even I guess the wind chill a little bit lower because of the wind.
Carlos Santana will stand in.
Well, 364 lifetime hitter against Charlie Morton, so Charlie does what he usually does when he pitches well. You get the guys out in front of him, and then you can pitch, because Santana has one of the better eyes at age 39 of anybody in baseball.
Well, Charlie is locating the fastball early where he wants to. We talked about this, Charlie, with us a couple of days ago. He likes the way his fastball is playing. He's cutting it a little bit more. He's changed where he holds the ball a little bit with his second and third fingers. And the stuff is good. He's your atypical old big league pitcher at 41. Usually if you're a big league pitcher, been around this long, maybe your stuff's diminished, your command's good. It's the other way for Charlie. The stuff has played really well, and in fact, he thinks it's a lot better than last year. Santana takes this high fastball to right, and that's easy for O'Neill. So fastball top of the strike zone. 3 pretty routine outs for Morton. The Orioles will take their swings off of Logan Allen next. Against a left-handed pitcher, Jordan Westberg will take the first crack for the Orioles today. O's are 12th out of 30 teams, 4.4 runs per game. Pretty right-handed heavy lineup. Henderson and Mullins, the 2 lefties, against a left-hander with pretty dramatic splits. Righties have crushed Logan Allen in his career, and the 26-year-old left-hander makes his 3rd start in his 3rd big league season.
Yeah, not overpowering. You know, he's got a changeup, he's got a sinker. You know, he's going to top out probably 90, 91 miles per hour, but he does throw strikes. He is left-handed, and again, he's very adept at keeping the running game in check. 8-5 last year. Take a look at our stats, 3D Google Cloud arsenal. So again, kind of mix up all his pitches. You know, cutter, very effective. And if you look at really the only pitch that is hit hard, 6 for 12 on the changeup.
First pitch fastball to Westberg is popped up, and Santana in the wind has space.
So Logan Allen on the hill, and his defense. Well, they're happy to get out of Cleveland. They played well, but it was freezing, a little warmer here. Quan, Gold Gloves, what, 3 times? Martinez in center, Jones out in right, Ramirez, one of the best players in baseball, Rocio Arias, Santana, and then Bo Naylor doing the catching. His brother now, after playing with the Indians in Arizona.
Yeah, there has been a real host of struggles defensively for Cleveland, which is typically a very strong defensive team. Santana, 39 years old, but a well-regarded first baseman. I mentioned Quan. Jose Ramirez, though, has really struggled defensively to start the year, but as you also noted, it's not the most fun time to field in Cleveland.
Well, every year, you know, if the Orioles go there late, you know, June, July. This year they're going, I think, maybe the 3rd week of July. The word is, boy, good luck here and happy you're not here in April and May. Wind blows off Lake Erie, and it can be freezing.
Allen snaps off strike 2 to Adley Rutschman, who has reached base all 14 games this year, an on-base percentage of .344. Last Oriole to start this season with as long a streak. Anthony Santander did it 3 years ago. Allen's 2-2, and that one's buried, the sweeper. The Orioles really hit him last year. 6 earned runs, 3 homers in 3 innings against Allen on June 25th last season, a game that Cleveland won 10-8. Midsummer slugfest. Rutschman chasing on 3-2. We haven't seen much of that this year.
Well, again, I mean, 3-2. He, you know, normally a lefty to a lefty is this. That's what you throw the sweeper, but he throws his sweeper to right-handers, and there it was. And it starts off the plate, and you do not, especially after John Bacon's strike zone on Sunday, want to get called out looking.
2 away for Tyler O'Neill. Tyler had his 2nd home run of the season on Sunday. Both have come off of Jose Barrios. Left-handed pitching. He just destroyed him last year. Small sample size, but a tough start against lefties this year with 7 strikeouts.
Well, it's only 15 games, and everybody's talking about that, and that's reality. You're 6-9. You haven't played well. You hit great in the wins, and you don't hit very well in the losses.
This is only the 4th time Brandon Hyde's team has faced a left-handed starter this year. 12 righties in the first 16. O'Neill goes up to get a high fastball and pops it into left. So Charlie Morton and Logan Allen with dueling 1, 2, 3 innings to begin this series between the Orioles and the Guardians. Our Maryland Lottery Fast Play contestant of the game, Mark Smithson from Essex, has won $500 for being selected and will win $500 more for every Orioles home run, $5,000 for each O's grand slam tonight. Learn how you can be the Fast Play contestant of the game at mdlottery.com/home run. Jackie Robinson Day, this 22nd Jackie Robinson Day in Major League Baseball. Every player, as we said, wearing the number 42 in honor of the first player to break the color barrier in the major leagues, 1947 with the Brooklyn Dodgers. No names, just numbers, just the blue Brooklyn 42 all around baseball, and all 30 teams are playing, which is the way it should be on Jackie Robinson Day. Charlie Morton, a clean first inning, and the breaking ball is a strike. It's a 24-year-old designated hitter Kyle Manzardo, former big prospect with the Tampa Bay Rays, second rounder in the draft 4 years ago. And another curveball for Morton. He's locating very well early.
And Manzardo, who wasn't supposed to hit lefties, he's 5 for 9 against left-handed pitching with 3 home runs.
Which makes him 4 for 35 against righties.
Yeah, well, he's struggling against the righties, but he's got some pop. And they're looking for offense.
Manzardo, Jones, Arias, middle of the Cleveland order. Breaking ball and no swing, according to Ryan Wills, down at third.
Yeah, you think you get a young hitter, you would get him to chase that pitch, but that's a terrific take, because that was the strike. There it is, to ball. And he's able to lay off it.
That's what you're talking about. I mean, he's just destroyed lefties in the few moments he's had against him. It's a player who hit 20 home runs in the minors last year in 83 games and 5 in 53 games in the big leagues for Cleveland. Got him in a trade with the Rays. It's always dangerous to trade with the Rays, but Manzardo for Aaron Savali 2 years ago looks like a big win for Cleveland.
Did you watch any of the highlights of Shane Baz, who pitched for? It was one of the greatest. He was throwing 100 miles per hour, a curveball dropping off the table.
The game yesterday against Boston? Yeah.
Like, and they got him 16 runs.
Right. Nothing but curveballs here from Charlie. Finally goes to the fastball, and Manzardo hits it right to O'Neill. So 7 curveballs, then the heater. And again, Charlie Morton feels like his stuff is significantly better than it was a year ago. Induced vertical break. This is basically the ride on your fastball. So a little bit of a technical term. What you need to know is that Charlie Morton's getting more of it. It's appearing to rise more to the batters than it did last year by about 3 inches. There's a change he's made, which is a subtle one, but a change he felt like he needed to make in the offseason, where the way he holds the baseball, working with Drew French, it's a little bit different on the fastball. With the fingers on the seams, he actually turns it slightly to the right to give it a little bit more of a cutting action. And he felt like last year, Jim, his fastball just did not get located up in the zone. And he was throwing fastballs low and breaking balls low and not really giving hitters much to fear at the top of the zone. So a couple of things he wanted to fix, and he feels like the stuff component is there.
No, there's no doubt about that.
Nolan Jones pops another fastball up. Mountcastle.
Oh.
What a wild ride that was. And it ends with an out.
A little carousel ride right there. So the wind is blowing. And again here, a lot of times it'll blow off the warehouse. It swirls and it can be tricky, but he stays with it. And that was that cut fastball you talked about. It ended up and in, and Jones popped it up.
Well, it's going to be a jittery day in the air. And so Gabriel Arias keeps it on the ground, and it's rolling, and it's rolling, and it sits right on the line. That is the ultimate when you're hot hit from Gabriel Arias.
Well, he also has 3 home runs, all to right field. Great power the other way. So good pitch, bad result. And if you're Jordan Westburg, you're hoping it's going to go foul. You can't make a play.
The first base runner of the game, Cleveland's second baseman Gabriel Arias, on a ball that had a launch angle of -75 degrees. -90 is straight down, by the way. That was about as straight down as you'll ever see a ball go off a bat.
Yeah, and it even hits the edge of the grass, and you figure, you know, again, because you know, this field drains so well, you maybe don't slope it as much as some other infields. Otherwise, that ball would have definitely kicked foul.
23-year-old Angel Martinez takes outside. One of 4 switch hitters in the Cleveland lineup today. So they are the ultimate platoon team. Ramirez, Santana, Arias, I beg your pardon, Martinez and Rocchio, all switch hitters. And another pop-up. This one's off the cutter. Henderson calls off Mateo, and all 6 outs have been in the air, and none of them have been hit very well. So a good start for Charlie Morton on this Tuesday night.
I'm gonna need Charlie Morton to not throw so many curveballs in one pitching session.
He's been waylaying baseballs, but most of them on the ground. Time for our PNC Insights presented by PNC Bank. Brilliantly boring since 1865. Gunnar Henderson is hitting the ball harder than literally anybody in Major League Baseball. His hard hit rate tied for first. His average exit velocity is first, but he only has what would be considered one barreled ball. And a barreled ball is the perfect combination of exit velocity and launch angle that usually results in an extra base hit. But here's what he did last year against Logan Allen. This home run was basically a dirt scraper, tied for the lowest launch angle of any home run Gunner's hit in his career. And hey, even if that was a little low for a home run, it would be nice to see Gunner elevate more, which he did in a 3-hit game Sunday.
Yeah, what do you say? Finally got a ball in the air. Well, you missed most of spring training. And even though he got better, he had the intercostal muscle pull. So there you go, 19 degrees. What do they say? The optimum launch angle's around 25, 26 degrees.
Right down the middle this time, and Henderson must have been looking for something else. Second strikeout for Allen.
Well, we talked about the fact he's got the sweeper. That was what he was able to throw to Adley Rutschman. That might even been almost like a cutter, a little bit harder.
By Mountcastle. Takes a cutter for a called strike. Good Sunday for Mountie, who had 2 hits, including a home run. Up to the 5 spot today.
Well, Sunday was all about the bullpen not pitching as well as they have been, and the fact they were 0 for 13 with runners in scoring position.
So Mountcastle did snap a 41-game home run drought. He had been hitting the ball very hard, but again, not in the air. And the Orioles and Mountcastle are hoping that will unlock the power surge.
Well, you get into these counts right here, you can, you look fastball, doesn't mean you're going to get it. I mean, he doesn't. He gets a sweeper.
Home runs have gone down 33 as a rookie in 21 to 22, 18, 13. Hoping to boost that number back. 3-2. Strikes out on another breaking ball.
Yeah, another sweeper. So back-to-back strikeouts. Logan Allen is not a strikeout guy. I mean, last year, the majority of the year, 8-5, 97 innings pitched, only 79 strikeouts. But when you're not overpowering, you need to throw the unexpected, and that's what he's doing.
Gary Sanchez 1 for 15 with a walk, sac fly, and 3 knocked in. Starting today against the left-handed Allen. The Orioles have 3 lefties on the bench. O'Hearn, Holiday, Kerstad. The only righty is Ramon Urias. Haven't seen some of these right-handed players start for a while. That ball's hit very hard to third. Off of Ramirez, and the shortstop Rocchio bails him out.
Well, that was a BB. They always say they call third base the hot corner. You're going to see it right here. But that's, when you look at it from that angle, pretty routine. You talked about the fact he's been struggling. But again, Rocchio saves the day.
And the 1955 World Series championship for Jackie Robinson held the fielding mark for second baseman, playing in 150 or more games. That was on his Hall of Fame plaque. His original Hall of Fame plaque led the National League in stolen bases twice. He actually has 2 Hall of Fame plaques, which I did not know until read this wonderful piece from Sweeney Murdy at MLB.com today. Was inducted into the Hall of Fame July 23rd, 1962. And the original Hall of Fame plaque just listed some of Jack Arvidson's accomplishments on the field. There was nothing about Jackie's breaking the color line. Pitches inside to Bo Naylor, 3-0. Jackie told Dick Young of the New York Daily News before the election, quote, "I hope that I will be judged on my ball playing ability alone, not on the fact that I broke the color line," unquote. And the Hall of Fame plaque stayed that way for about 40 years until Rachel Robinson, Jackie's widow, reached out to Joe Morgan, who was the vice chairman of the board.
Nice strike.
They unveiled a new plaque, which says at the end, displayed tremendous courage and poise in 1947 when he integrated the modern major leagues in the face of intense adversity.
Yeah, I didn't realize. I mean, I knew he was a good player, but when you start looking at the numbers and the effect that he had, I mean, he was part of that Boys of Summer, great Dodger teams with Campanella and Snyder and Reese and Hodges, Carl Furillo. I mean, you go down the list. The problem was they kept playing the Yankees, and as you mentioned, the only year they were able to beat them was 1955.
By the way, 19 career steals of home for Jackie Robinson. We may never see that again.
Better make it.
That's right. Not an analytically sound play. So Charlie Morton having control issues here. 6 of the first 7 have missed in the third after a very clean start. Walked the 8-hitter Naylor. Now 2-0 to Brian Rocchio. And there's a cutter for a strike.
Yeah, I used to always tell Yogi, I said, you know, Jackie was safe at home plate. Yogi Berra looked at me. He goes, "No, he wasn't." And I said, "The ump said he was."
The funny thing is, in that game where Jackie famously stole home, the Yankees won the game. They actually won it 6-5. So it's this famous play, this galvanizing play in the World Series. The Dodgers finally win, but they lost that game where he stole home. They would, of course, rally to win the series. Quick thrust by Morton, and Naylor is in there safely.
Yeah, the Indians are good. Indians, I knew I'd do it. The Guardians do not run a whole lot, but only attempted 11 steals and successful 6 of them.
A little lob off the end of the bat here from Rocchio will find grass, and Naylor was on the move there, so he'll take third. So first and third, nobody out, courtesy of the 8 and 9 hitters, Naylor and Rocchio.
Well, there's your base on balls. You know, Charlie Morton did not want to walk Bo Naylor, even though he has a little bit of power, and then Rocchio finds a hole out in the defense. So now you say to yourself, let's just, I'm going to give up a run. It's going to be 1, because now you're back into the heart of the lineup. They get to see it for the second time.
Stephen Kwan, who flied out. Well, Kwan is such a valuable player, and he's particularly good in these spots, making contact on 91.4% of his swings. 2 of his first 3 years, he's walked more than he struck out. Career 189 walks, 194 strikeouts. Amazingly, Stephen Kwan did not have a sacrifice fly all last year, but he had 10 his first 2 seasons. And he's in a 3-0 count here. Morton is losing the plot.
Well, you get a little bit quick.
3 straight times. 3-0 or 3-1. Morton needs to calm down.
Jose Ramirez, 6-time All-Star, waiting on deck. And his four-seam fastball is much more effective this year. I mean, one, as we mentioned, 1 for 11. The sinker, that's where you get the ground ball. There's Kwan very hard to double up. I mean, they're hitting 385. And he doesn't mind hitting with 2 strikes. Think about Stephen Kwan last year, most home runs ever, 14. Home runs really jumped.
Rocchio's going, and there's ball 4. Morton is frustrated. He has walked 2 and allowed a soft single, and Drew French will wander out with the bases loaded. So some numbers here for you. In zone percentage, self-explanatory. Edge percentage, that's how often a pitch is on the edges of the strike zone. Those are career lows so far. In zone swing percentage, how often batters swing when the ball's in the strike zone, that's the highest. And then the meatball number is basically a pitch that's middle. That's also the highest. So some troubling trends early. And it looked like Drew French spent a lot of this conversation talking to Gary Sanchez before getting to Morton. But yeah, that's been the story, Jim. He likes the stuff, Charlie Morton, but he just is not commanding any of his pitches.
Well, but that's the word, command. If you throw 94, I mean, his fastball coming in with the average fastball 93.7, that's the major league average. Now, is it up a tick from last year? Yeah. Command, not so much. I mean, he was 8 and 10 last year, but he got the 6th lowest run support. With some runs, he would have been a lot better. And now you face a guy that, you know, he's coming off 39 home runs, you know, 6 All-Star games. Against the Orioles, he wears them out. 297 with 11 home runs lifetime.
Cutter changeup start. Those are pitches he's thrown a little more just because he's a little more comfortable throwing them for strikes.
I mean, Ramirez lifetime only 3 for 14, so not a lot of at bats against Charlie. But again, the ability not to command your stuff.
Jose Ramirez, an all-star 4 consecutive seasons, top 10 in the MVP for 7 of the last 8 years. And a 2-1 count. He swings, serves the ball high in the air to left center. This is going to be Mullins in front of Laureano, and a run will score on the sacrifice fly as the other runners hold. So Jose Ramirez, who drove it 118 a year ago, knocks in his 8th of this year, and Cleveland has the first run. That is the Guardians' 10th sacrifice fly. They came into today tied for the major league lead with the 9, and Ramirez already his 3rd of the year. Strike called to Santana.
Yeah, pretty good at swing the first time, but lined out to right field on a high fastball.
Charlie Morton in his 16th season in the major leagues, or 18th season, began in 2008. Carlos Santana, his 16th season began in 2010. So 34 years of big league experience between these two.
Yeah, I would think, again from my previous experience, on a night like tonight with the wind, not that it's cold, I would imagine it's difficult to feel the ball. Maybe a little bit slipperier than you would like. That's a great pitch. Gets him back into the count.
Were there particular grips you had more trouble with on a cold night or a windy night?
I throw more 2-seamers. I mean, I was basically a 4-seam pitcher, but you have more feel. You have more of your fingers on the actual seam than across them.
Shot out of play, still 2-2. That was a two-seamer right on cue. Not sure I've ever heard that before. More two-seamers than four-seamers because of the wind, because of the chill.
Well, it just feel. Yeah. Cold weather, slick days. Again, the humidity is probably low. Yeah, in the old days, you had to actually walk off the mound to go to your hand. Well, now you can do it on the mound. So you had to walk off. So the alternative is just wet the brim of your hat, get some moisture, and then go to your pants, wipe it off, and you have moisture. I learned that from my former only major league pitcher ever that went to Johns Hopkins, Davey Leonard.
Oh. Clearly, who was an anatomy major, Davey Leonard. This will be the 8th pitch to Santana. Popped him up. Shallow right field. O'Neill coming a long way. Lost his hat, made the catch, and gets the double play.
Wow.
Brian Rocchio didn't read the scouting report.
Well, but why? It's routine, and you're going to go a couple of steps off. So again, they run themselves out of the inning. Charlie Morton, and they're going to look at it. And again, great throw by Tyler O'Neill. He does have a great arm. And look at the momentum. He's going to catch it, heads up play right here. I mean, no hesitation whatsoever. Play right in front of him, and then a bullet.
That's what I'm talking about. Help get Charlie out of this mess. Too many walks. Way too many. So let's try to get it back in this bottom of the third.
Certainly through the first 15 games, leading the O's in doubles, tied for the lead in home runs, twice as many RBIs as any other player, most walks, best on base, best slugging, and he gets a left-on-left start on this Tuesday night. 1-0 lead for Cleveland. Logan Allen has not allowed a base runner through 2, and he nearly hits Mullins with a sweeper. Laureano and Mateo to follow. Allen has struck out 3. And the Guardians with a 3rd inning run, which could have been a lot worse. 28 pitches, 15 balls. Charlie Morton allowed the first 3 to reach, but got out of it thanks to a double play with a great throw from Tyler O'Neill.
And bad base running certainly amplifies that throw. The ability to, again, to get a good read and make a perfect throw.
Allen's 1-2. Second outfield assist of the year for O'Neill. The Orioles signed O'Neill and Laureano partly for their arms. And both have 2 outfield assists on the year among the on-deck hitter.
And then obviously, especially O'Neill, I mean, as you mentioned, wears out left-handed pitching. There is Ramon Laureano waiting on deck.
There's a 3-2, and Mullins takes it wide. So his team leading 10th walk, and he is the Orioles' first base runner this evening.
Well, he changes the nature of the game. I mean, again, it's very hard to run on Logan Allen, but even if you don't steal a base, as you can see right here, now the Orioles 1+ base on balls in 94 consecutive games. He may not steal a base, but he can go from first to third, first to home with the best of them.
So Laureano, as defensive replacement Sunday, struck out to end the game against Jeff Hoffman. So since Logan Allen debuted in 2023, he's only allowed 4 steals. Minimum 200 innings. That's tied for the second fewest of any major league pitcher in that span. He's tied with Arizona's Ryan Nelson and the Yankees' Luke Weaver. The pitcher with the fewest steals allowed, minimum 200 innings, since Logan Allen's debut, is actually Kyle Bradish. Unusually enough, a right-hander, of course, with the O's. And we did hear today from Mike Elias that Kyle Bradish, knock on wood, flying along, to use Mike's words, and they hope he'll be back in the later half of the summer, making good progress back from his Tommy John surgery last spring. That's bounced to Laureano, and it's 3-1. Mike had a lot of injury updates today. He spent about 6 straight minutes on him. There is Kyle next to Andrew Kittredge, who's also flying through his rehab from an knee injury. They hope he could be back by the end of May, maybe live BP in a couple of weeks. But all the injury updates were good. There are a lot of them, but there were no setbacks that Mike Elias had in terms of all the pitchers who are out. Chase McDermott, Trevor Rogers have been throwing multiple bullpens as well. They're depth starting pitcher options. There goes Cedric. Here's the throw, and there's just the 5th steal against Logan Allen in the last 3 seasons.
Well, you got the right guy to do it. I mean, if he's healthy, if he gets on base, which he's certainly doing, he's going to steal 30+. And the other thing, it's 3-1. You have to throw a strike. You've got to be deliberate. Not a horrible throw, quick release, one hopper. But Cedric, here's your tie and run out at second, but nobody out. Excuse me, 1 out. Nobody out.
Now 1 out.
Yeah.
You were just giving us a little premonition.
Predicting the future?
Yes. Laureano is the Orioles.
Well, you know, I'm looking at my card and there's no out, so I looked at the scoreboard. They must have known too, because they had 1 out there.
Trigger happy scoreboard operator. Here's Jorge Mateo starting at second base today. Jackson Holiday getting the day off. Last start for Mateo was 9 days ago. That's Sunday in Kansas City, where he had trouble in the outfield, dropped the Bobby Witt Jr. fly ball that was ruled a triple, and then changed a few days later to a 3-base error. And the Orioles haven't seen a left-handed starting pitcher since then. So Mateo, Laureano, and Gary Sanchez, outside of one Gary Sanchez start, have been anchored to the bench.
Well, what they do is, you know, Mateo is not really an outfielder. He can play the outfield. It's a routine ball that he misplayed, but he's a very good second baseman. Still looking for his first hit of the year, 0 for 11. So not a lot of at-bats.
Been used as a pinch runner a couple of times on the homestand and brought some good energy. He's also stole 2 bases in Arizona in a game there. That was the Tuesday game against A.J. Puck. Mike Elias was also asked about the lineups today. And he said, look, I'm not involved, but our front office gives a lot of info, and we totally support Brandon, you need players to be engaged through the season. You have to rotate. You have to rest. You're going to get Mateo and Laureano and Sanchez chances here. This ball hit high in the air to left field. Swirling in the wind down to the center fielder Martinez. Mullins is on his way to third, and he'll make it on the second out.
Yeah, Martinez made a great throw yesterday, cutting down a runner that tried to go from first to third against Kansas City and Cleveland, so he can throw a little bit, but not from there.
O's fans, Birdland memberships are available now to enjoy the best seats at the best values. Plans start as low as 10 games. Get access to exchange games, concessions and merch discounts, playoff access, and more. Go to Orioles.com/memberships. So runner at third, 2 down for Jordan Westburg. And the Orioles now 0 for 15 the last 2 games with runners in scoring position. They were 2 for 3 in the win on Saturday, 5-4.
Well, that's a huge win on Saturday. I mean, you're down 3-0, get a couple of home runs. You get the 2-run double by Mullins to left center field to give them the win.
Well, that was certainly low.
And to your point, Kevin, this is kind of what we were talking about as far as in the wins. Boy, you know, it's again, it's feast or famine. All the numbers, and if you're under 100 for runners in scoring position in your losses, one of the big reasons you lose. Jordan 3 for 10 with runners in scoring position, so get a hit, the numbers change dramatically.
Orioles looking for their first hit tonight. Last 2 games against Cleveland last year, they had 15 or more hits in each game. 2-2 from Allen is in the dirt.
Yeah, it seems like, you know, Jordan Westbrook got off to such a great start up in Toronto, and then all of a sudden when you're hitting fastballs and curveballs, what's a pitch of choice? A changeup, and that's why Logan tried to throw that pitch.
Back to the fastball and on the hands.
You can see that basically what he does, in and out, soft, hard, try to stay out of the middle of the plate. And let's see, the run for the Guardians was a walk.
Down the right field line into foul territory. There's no play for Nolan Jones. That was the first time in this 8-pitch sequence Allen threw the same pitch back-to-back times. And a career-high 10 strikeouts against the Orioles 2 years ago, and he went 7 shutout. And a good rookie year, one of the best rookie years for a Cleveland pitcher. 3-2 is a sweeper down and in, and Allen has walked 2. Westburg earned that one. 9 pitches to become the Orioles' second base runner of the inning. And now we'll see Carl Willis.
Yeah, the big train. Former Major League pitcher. Got that nickname when he played for the Twins. Jokingly, he just said, hey, jump on the train.
What a career he's had. This is his 8th year in this stint as Cleveland's pitching coach. 15 overall. He's been the pitching coach for 5 American League Cy Young winners. And he was a World Series champion with the Tigers in '84 and the Twins in '91, where he pitched well. One of the great teachers in baseball, Carl.
Let's continue to have Allen walk us. This is good for us. Let's see what Rushman's going to do here coming up next.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if the Orioles will attempt a stolen base here, even though it's very difficult, as we mentioned, to run against Logan Allen.
If they do, Mullins at third would be a great guy to have on the back end. Not going so far, and it's 2-0.
Well, the only reason I say that is, I mean, with 2 outs, you're just trying to get another base runner, and then if you're Bo Naylor, you better be very careful because of what you talked about, the speed of Mullins.
Rutschman powers it to left, but he was a little too jumpy.
Yeah, switch position of the baseball. He got it in there enough where the only place that Adley could hit it was foul. That ball out over the plate, the Orioles have 3 runs. Great angle right here. You can see it just hook and foul.
There's the first check on Westburg. Both pitchers tonight cruised through the first 2 innings. Morton threw 26 pitches in the first 2, 28 in the third. Allen 25 in the first 2 innings. He's thrown 28 in the third. His 29th is popped up. Should get him out of the jam, and it does. So the Orioles have their first 2 base runners on walks, but they're still searching for a hit. But runner.
Had me excited. Rutschman got under that last hit, and but it just went foul. Oh, let's see what Morton can do if he can get out of the jam that he had in the third. We'll see what happens, but hopeful that we can score in the coming innings, because we may not score much tonight. A more positive note, one of my picks cashed. Had Corbin Curl getting over 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs, and then Jonathan Aranda to get a hit, and all of that happened. So that worked out. I'll take that win here.
Told me in Arizona he had never played outfield in his life before being drafted. He was a catcher growing up and a third baseman. And the Seattle Mariners brought him in for a pre-draft workout. They said, we're going to stick you in the outfield. It's worked out well. 54 pitches apiece. So Logan Allen, Charlie Morton are right in line with some quick first 2 innings and some tumultuous thirds. Morton will throw a strike to Kyle Manzardo, hoping for a much quicker 4th. Each team walked twice in the 3rd inning. Guardians had the hit and the run. This is down to first. Mountcastle's all over it. And he gets the out to the covering Morton.
More like, what isn't he all over? You know, you came up #1 draft choice, shortstop, so great agility. The ball hit hard. Easily going to be a double till he snares it. Charlie Morton, 41 years old, right there. Fast feet, nice hands. And then Morton there to get the first out.
Gold Glove finalists the last couple of years, Ryan Mountcastle. Jones elevates one into Cedric Mullins' general vicinity. That's 3 pitches for 2 outs.
Just the same guy that pitched the 3rd with a couple of walks.
Hey, the fourth inning of Orioles baseball is brought to you by your Baltimore area Toyota dealers. It's game on at Toyota. Visit your local Baltimore area Toyota dealer or check out buyatoyota.com. Charlie Morton, 3 2/3 innings without a strikeout. Is that
all right.
sinker lost control? Yeah, he struck out 10 two starts ago and gave up 5. So.
Yeah, well, that couple of 2-run home runs. And well, when you're closing in on 2,200 lifetime innings, you know, and you walk a couple of guys, one of them scores. You go back, you sit on the bench, and you go, okay, it's not me. Got to calm down. You know, I think sometimes you come to a new team, trying to make an impression, maybe overthrow a little bit. Kind of like when you get a little extra rest and you wonder, I'm throwing really hard, but the ball's straighter than it normally is. That's when you either go to a two-seamer or you just throttle down a little bit. Yeah, you can add, but you can also subtract when you pitch.
Struck him out swinging. Morton had only one swing and miss through the first 3 2/3. He got a couple against Arias there, and that is Charlie.
That's what I'm talking about. That's what we need. Maybe late in his pitcher rotation, but I'll gladly take him getting a strikeout here in the fourth, because he's probably more than likely done after the next inning. So I'll take it, but we got to get some runs on the board here.
Off this inning with a home run, no problem. Mr. Splash has got it covered.
It's like a shield. Maybe he needs that.
It really is. It's going to be a ground ball instead, and O'Neill is out. One pitch, one out for Logan Allen in the fourth.
Shortstop number 42.
Well, the stuff certainly isn't overpowering, but Logan Allen has not allowed a hit through 3 1/3 with 3 strikeouts. What do you make of his pitching and the Orioles' approach?
Well, he just changes speeds. You know, he knows who he is. You know, why try to throw the ball by people? You got to move it around. You got to change speed. To your point, what in his pitch sequences, only twice has he come back and back the same pitch. So they have no idea what's coming. And if you can pitch, you know, the plate's 17 inches wide. You can make it 21 to 22 inches with the ball in the corner. The whole ball doesn't have to be on a plate.
See the whiff rate, which has jumped up tonight, just jumped up again on that strike to Gunnar. Second rounder out of Florida International University in 2020. It's actually originally drafted by the Orioles out of high school.
Yeah, 16th round. Second rounder. How about it? You sign a guy as a second rounder in his first year, he goes 9-0. You're Mike Chernoff, you go, geez, boy, what a great scouting department we have.
Yes. Whoever that scout is deserves a raise. Allen was the Orioles' 16th round pick in 2017. He was the Gatorade Player of the Year in high school in Florida. They thought he was worth a shot, but he decided to go to college, and worked out nicely for him. A mile-high pop-up by Henderson. Home run and a silent. And down he goes for the second time. Let's take a look at who's been getting it done. It's presented by the Home Depot. It's Ryan Mountcastle, coming off a home run and a single last game. This was entering tonight. Mountcastle hitting very well at home with a left field wall that is, of course, more to his liking.
Well, I just think it frees up your mind. When you hit the ball hard to left field, you probably get more rewarded. You talked about what, 2021? He leads all of American League rookies in home runs with 33. That's when the wall was 364 to the power alley. So it's gone back a little bit, but not as back far as 398. At 363 is very reachable.
Pulled to shortstop. Rocchio. High throw.
Wow.
That one was way late into the camera well. Mountcastle's going to get an extra base as his Cleveland defense continues to struggle early.
That's so routine until he throws it. I mean, he did everything. He catches it. He, gets his footwork down. Right here, look at this. Gathers everything. Little glove tap, and then airmails it. Ooh.
That's why we moved the intrepid Neil Milton to a different camera position this year, so he wouldn't take that one in the noggin. Thankfully, the photographers got out of the way. So a two-base E6, and now another chance for the runner in scoring position.
Let's see if Gary Sanchez can get his second hit of the season.
That's not a John Bacon strike zone from Lance Barksdale.
Well,
tonight.
I don't know. I mean, what John's first 8 missed calls went against the Orioles.
Yeah, the umpire accounts on social media had a good time with John, a better time than the Orioles had.
Well, I think that if they ever do go to the ABS, it will expose umpires that have bad days. Because there have probably been 8 challenges in the first 3 innings on Sunday.
2-1 coming. Based on what we saw to start this season, I think the Orioles might welcome an ABS challenge system more than literally any other team. The automated ball strike system, which has made its way to the minor leagues and made its way to some spring training parks this year. Mountcastle at second, the tying run, and Sanchez guides one foul on the ground.
Yeah, I know the umpire unit may not like it, but I think in the spirit of the integrity of the game, you want to get it right. So if you need a little bit of help, and I think it will also ferret out the guys that maybe not are as good as others.
And I do think umpiring is probably in some ways sharper than it's ever been, because look at how hard it is to umpire now with the HD cameras we have magnifying your every move, with the way that balls spin and move and break. These guys do an amazing job. High in the air to left by Sanchez. Stephen Kwan calling off nobody in particular will end the inning. So Allen works around the air. He's got a no-hitter. We've got.
Allen has been like just doing this thing. We cannot get a hit right now off of him at all. So I think once he comes out the game after maybe this inning coming up in the 5th, then maybe there'll be a turn. Maybe the no-hitter will, because he's currently on a no-hitter. But that's if they take him out. They may keep him in until somebody gets a hit off of him, if that happens. So we'll see. But currently he is like, we just can't figure out a way to get past his pitches right now.
Through game 3 of an 8-game homestand for the Orioles. And Charlie Morton with 6 outs on the 4-seamer tonight. That's impressive considering he sprayed it around at times, particularly in that 3rd inning. But early on, a very effective pitch. There's some good ones in the 4th. 23 swings through 4 innings. Only the 3 whiffs, and they've all been outside the zone. 2 of them against Arias in the last inning. So again, talked to Charlie on Sunday. He feels like the stuff is playing better this year. The 4-seamer and 2-seamer. He thinks the changeups played a little better. This is a breaking ball hit high into right. O'Neill fighting the napkins, and he'll have to play that off the wall. Angel Martinez will take advantage. Heading to third. The throw is just a little bit too high for Westberg to wait for. I mean, that is just an absolute bazooka from right. Tyler almost had him, but it's a windswept triple for Martinez instead.
Yeah, that's a good call on the napkins. Look at them all. He goes back, and the wind is gusting. And that ball high on the wall. Watch this throw. And it's just into the runner, and it's just a little bit offline.
Wow, that's like maybe not quite Ichiro from the right field corner,
well,
but that's
right,
amazing
yeah,
stuff.
That's reminding me of Clemente in the year he was the MVP in the World Series.
So the infield comes partly in for Bo Naylor.
Well, you can see Martinez can really run, and to his credit, he assumed maybe that ball would not be caught. That's how he ended up at third. And by doing that, you don't have to get a base hit. That ball almost blew back in.
Yeah. Strike 2 to Naylor.
You were probably seeing the wind affect the ball more than I've seen it in years.
Yeah.
So again, because of the warehouse. I mean, it says it's blowing out to left, but that ball blew off the wall because the wind is gusting and swirling.
Another one way up in the air to right. Let's see what O'Neill has in store. This would be a really tough play. Martinez will test him, and O'Neill's throw never had a chance. So Angel Martinez picks up the first triple of his young major league career and then scores on Cleveland's 2nd sacrifice fly of the game.
Well, he came in here
up here cheering for the wrong team. I was like, that cheering for the wrong team. That's not what I want to do.
So now he's 6 for 12.
So the Guardians league leading sacrifice fly total, which was 9, now at 11. And here's Rocchio.
It's kind of interesting. I mean, you come in hitting under 200 as a team with runners in scoring position, that you get it done because you put the ball in play and you hit the fly ball with a runner at third. And you know as well as I, Kevin, they always, when the guys are taking batting practice, runner on third, get them in. Try to get a ball up in the air, and they've done a good job of that.
They're not as good a contact team as they've been in recent years. They're 17th in strikeout rate, but that's something the Guardians have done very well under Terry Francona, now under Stephen Vogt. They put the ball in play at times when you need to put it in play. That's a 4-pitch walk, so Rocchio, the 9-hitter, has reached twice. 3rd walk for Charlie today.
I'm just tired. That's why I was cheering for the wrong team. Charlie's got me upset. He done walked 3rd batter so far.
Strike 1 called. First pitch strikes just 10 out of 19 tonight for Morton.
Yeah, very hard to run on for a guy that's 6'6"-ish.
6 pickoffs a year ago, led the majors. Kwan to right down the line. That ball is fair. It's a 2-run homer for Stephen Kwan in an inning where the Guardians just keep putting it up in the jet stream and right. This one was a no-doubter in terms of distance, and it's 4-0.
Yeah, we talked about 14 career high last year. I mean, he's a contact hitter. You're worried about a line drive to left, and it's all about where the bat head is. Inside, bat head to it. It almost looked like he was looking, and that's what you talked about, Kevin, just inside the foul pole.
Stephen Kwan with the Guardians' 19th home run. They're 7th in the majors in home runs per game. And it is 4-0 Cleveland. 2 sacrifice flies and then a long ball. And the Orioles have another deficit with another starting pitcher, and the worst starting pitching ERA in the majors, 5.30 coming in. As Ramirez fouls one just over our heads.
Yeah, the Yankees were a little bit higher, and then they ended up winning, what, 4-1 yesterday. So theirs dropped a little bit lower.
I think Charlie Morton's probably going to say something similar to what he said against Boston. You give two home runs. That's one thing. It's the walks preceding the home runs, and the walk to the 9-hitter Brian Rocchio, no doubt, will be sticking in his crop. Ramirez center field. There's another base hit for Jose Ramirez against the Orioles, and that's 5 productive plate appearances for Cleveland in a row to start the 5th.
Yep, and this is
hands of Stephen Kwan on that home run swing.
Well, he's the master of knowing where the bat head is.
He has one of the slowest swings in baseball because he has one of the shortest swings in baseball, but he knows, as you pointed out, he knows where to get it on that quote unquote sweet spot with a much shorter swing. Little roller off the glove of Mountcastle. Mateo flips it to first late. Great effort by Mateo there, but it's a bouncing base hit for Carlos Santana.
Yeah, without the runner on first, it's routine because Ryan Mount, but he's holding the runner on, high chopper. He's a tall guy, 6'3"-ish, 6'4". Nice effort by Mateo. And then Santana, aged, what, turned 39, I think, yesterday.
That's actually the oldest matchup in Major League Baseball this year. Batter pitcher Morton and Santana. And Santana wins it with a single, and here's Drew French.
Yeah, I know. I've been around baseball a long time. They always say walks kill you. They do, but I think what happens after the walks is maybe even more important. I was the master of walking people.
I really had that feeling that we weren't gonna do something the first 5 innings here because Charlie was pitching. But you just never, you really couldn't pinpoint fully if Charlie was going to be struggling or not. So, but I had that feeling, you know. So it is what it is.
Caught him.
Well, he liked the fact that Steven used to hit a lot of home runs.
Sure. Change-up strike to Manzardo.
He always, Steven Vogt always reminded me of a guy maybe in my era that was, he would play regularly, especially with the A's, but a guy that would sit on the bench and kind of just knew how to hit. You know, maybe a pinch hitter extraordinaire.
Was an all-star early in his career twice, 2015 and 16 with Oakland, and then became that pinch hitter extraordinaire late in his career. He went right from the playing field to being a bullpen coach for the Mariners the year after he retired. And then his second year after retiring was named Cleveland's manager, and he was the AL Manager of the Year a season ago. That's a pretty small club playing, and then a manager 2 years later. He was the first major league manager to begin a season 2 years after retiring as a player since Larry Bowa, 1987 with the Padres. Our friend Sarah Langs with the great note there. 2-2, Morton to Manzardo, and he struck him out on a foul tip.
Yeah, nice hook. Well, you've given up 4 runs that you didn't want to give up. How do you get to come back and pitch the 6th? Somehow try to get out of this inning. Again, it's such a physical game, but again, when you give up more runs than you want, even if you're a veteran, it's the mental aspect comes in. Cionel Perez getting loose. I think that might get the top of the strike zone, but not getting the call.
Nolan Jones chopper to second, and that will end a 3-run 5th inning for the Guardians. 2-run home run by Kwan, the big blow. Mullins will lead it off for the O's.
I'll take it. Looks like Perez is getting ready to come in the next inning because he's warming up. Charlie just had a late start to really, I guess, finish the first half of the game. So, but we're down 4-0. I don't know. It's just that our bullpen is fully injured. So what can you do? We're just gonna have to keep rolling with the punches until maybe next month when players our bullpen is back to some sort of sense of healthiness. But it is what it is. But tonight we just don't have it. But then again, it's only we're walking into the 5th inning, so we'll see what happens in the second half.
a career and a life filled with them. And the Iron Man is here in his customary front row seat tonight. And one of the great joys of the last couple of years is getting to see Cal at the ballpark night in and night out. It's been in almost every home game so far this season. See if the Orioles can get a little Iron Man magic here. They're looking for their first hit of the night.
Well, that's what went on, Saturday? There you go.
All right.
That no-hitter. Yeah, Bowden Francis had a no-hitter going. Orioles were down 3-0. Tonight it's 4-0.
So Cedric Mullins was the first base runner in the third inning. He picks up the first hit in the fifth.
Well, it's not that Logan Allen hadn't hung some breaking balls. It's just the Orioles haven't hit him. There's a hanger and there's a base hit. And there's Cedric Mullins having a great start.
And on the next pitch, a pop-up from Laureano. The Orioles take on Aaron Judge and the defending American League East champion New York Yankees, April 28th through the 30th. Hotly anticipated 3-game series. Get your tickets now at Orioles.com/tickets. Matchup of the AL East, 1 and 2 teams. Last year the Yankees won 94. The Orioles right behind them with 91. And it'll be the first matchup between the O's and Yanks this season. Yankees have gotten off to a 9-7 start, which is the best record in the division. Everybody's within 2.5. They're the American League East standings with Toronto a half game back, Tampa Bay a half game behind them, Boston a game behind them, and the O's a half game behind the Red Sox. Another pop-up. It's pop-up central here.
Well, they think they could hit that high fastball, and even in a 2-0 count, not getting able to. We saw Cal's 3,000 hit. Did you notice how that ball was up, letter high, and what did he do? He matched the level of the baseball with a bat. You want to hit pop-ups, uppercut, especially if you're going to swing at high fastballs, even if it's 89, 90 miles per hour. There's Calvin Jr.
Now, the last 4 outs have been in the air for Logan Allen. A lot of soft contact against him tonight. The Orioles have hit very few balls hard. In fact, the only balls considered hard hit, 95 or above. 2 flyouts, a ground out, and Mountcastle reaching on the air, and you see 7 outs in the air. So only 4 hard hit balls, and a couple of those were hard hit routine fly balls. Scary thing with Cleveland, if you don't get to their starters, you're in trouble. They've got the 4th best bullpen ERA in baseball and the 7th worst starting pitching ERA. So a game like this by Allen sets them up beautifully, because the Guardians have just a whole host, a passel, if you will, of bullpen aces waiting out there.
Well, they got Gaddis. They have Smith. Clase struggling. After having been the best reliever the last 3 years.
Westburg goes down looking at a close pitch around the outside corner. A word for Lance Barksdale as Allen completes another scoreless inning.
That was, I don't agree with that strikeout. That was, to me, that was a ball. I have no clue what that, I don't know. Oh well. Sheesh.
Masson crew. It's been a tough night for the Orioles. It's part of a tough start to the season. 6 and 9 O's, trailing 4-0. Charlie Morton's allowed 4 runs or more all 4 of his Oriole outings. Ball one to Gabriel Arias. Morton back out there after a 25-pitch 3-run fifth. And Arias strokes a line drive through the left side for a base hit. His second of the game.
Yeah, a little cutter. Where is it? You know, I mean, he actually steps in the bucket a little bit, but again, because it's in the middle of the plate, able to make contact and serve it into left field.
So 5+ for Charlie Morton. That will be the end of his night. Same inning number he put up the last 3 starts now. 5 innings for Charlie Morton. Ciano Perez will take over when we return.
And you can see, obviously not a great start for Ciano Perez. Power pitcher, breaking ball, 2-seamer, 4-seamer. Walks her up dramatically. And strikeouts down. So that's not obviously what you want. Even though you're down 4-0, you want to keep it there. And again, the ability to outstuff you. Usually going to be in the mid-90s.
Ciano on 5 days rest in search of a badly needed bounce back outing. There are some excuses for the start of his year, but ultimately he'll tell you he's just got to pitch better. He gave up 5 runs at Kansas City 2 outings ago, inning in the third, 1 run, but walked 2 at Arizona the last time out. And the stuff has not been bad, but similar story to Charlie Morton. It's been a lack of command with 8 walks in 5 innings plus a hit batter. So 9 free passes to 32 batters faced. And just 3 strikeouts to go along with it. Charlie Morton went 5+, gave up 4 so far. And now a ground ball from the switch hitter Angel Martinez. Perez has had a new cutter this year. He's really gone to a 5-pitch mix. He's got a slower breaking ball to go along with his traditional slider, plus the 4 and 2-seamer. There's a ground ball through the right side. That's a base hit. So Martinez has tripled and singled in the last 2 innings.
So he came in 5 for 10, now 2 for 3, make it 7 for 13. But what about the approach? Not trying to pull it. Hit the ball to the to the area of maximum vulnerability. You stay out of a double play. Just a terrific approach.
Seemed like a swing we saw from Bo Bichette all weekend with Toronto.
He was only, what, 5 for 11 against the Orioles?
It seemed like he was about 11 for 5. Here's Naylor. He's going to square to bunt. All right. I think CNL had to play it second there. He'll go to first and get the safe out.
Yeah, but Martinez can really run. And I think if you're, again, trying to stay out of the big inning, if you throw that ball away or don't get, bases are going to be loaded, nobody out. So you take the easy out and hope you can get a strikeout. You're going to have to play your infield in, though, because of successful squeeze. So, again, really good hitting by the Indians, a team that, again, the Guardians are not just struggling offensively, but not tonight.
You owe 75 cents to the Guardians jar right now.
Yeah, and I'm going to be paying more.
A franchise that has had a few different nicknames throughout its history. They were first the Cleveland Forest Cities back in 1865. Really? Rocchio out of play 0-2.
So, okay, let's make a pitch here. Got the ability to strike people out. Don't have to throw a strike. Where do you want to get him out? If you want to get him out of weight, how about a ball up and in? Get him off the plate, change his eye line, and then go down and away. See Sanchez saying down, which he does, but it doesn't start in the strike zone enough to get him to swing.
I do have to correct myself, by the way, that the first organized team in Cleveland was the Forest Cities. They became the Spiders. This franchise began as the Grand Rapids Rippers in 1894. So my apologies to the Forest Cities fans. 2-strike pitch is down and in. No swing by Rocchio. Base hit and a walk out of the 9th spot for Rocchio. Came in just a 545 on base plus slugging, hitting .214. And this ball's lifted and a left center. Laureano will throw it to the cutoff man Henderson, and another run comes home. That's the 3rd sacrifice fly for Cleveland. Already their 12th on the year, and the Guardians lead it 5-0.
Yeah, get 0-2, throw them 3 straight breaking balls, and when the 3rd one's not as good as the other 2, that's the result you get. Orioles now down by 5.
And here's Kwan, who had a big swing last inning. And a ground ball here gets away from Mateo. Martinez will score, as Stephen Kwan has driven in 3 runs with the last 2 pitches he's seen. It's now 6-0.
Yeah, fans a little upset because I think they felt Mateo might have been able to knock that ball down. I'm imagining that Jorge's, and again, I mean, he's got to go a long way, but he's on the grass. Maybe he could have knocked it down. I'm sure he thinks he's going to catch it. Short hop. Tremendous speed by Kwan. I don't think he could have thrown him out anyway.
So Stephen Kwan's now knocked in 11 in 16 games, 3 tonight. So the Guardians 3 sacrifice flies and then 3 Stephen Kwan RBIs. Ramirez had one of the sac flies. Ramirez, his second base hit in as many innings, and Cleveland is 4 for 4 as a team in the inning with a sac bunt and a sac fly.
Yeah, that's just a good swing. Not a bad pitch at all. Hits it with one hand. But then again, this is Jose Ramirez, and that's his ability to do. I mean, you think, I mean, a guy that, what, stole 41 bases, hit 39 home runs, what, 291 lifetime hitter with runners in scoring position. It's a,
Look at the finish on this swing.
well, that's the old Charlie Lau swing, where you take one hand off and finish high. But once again, what was he able to do? Get the barrel of the bat to the ball.
He is one of the greatest players of his era. And every year we probably say Jose Ramirez doesn't get enough credit. But every year he's seemingly in the top 5 at MVP. 39 home runs a year ago. Down to third. That gets away from Westburg. Henderson. That is in time to first. Good job to get Santana from the 5.5 hole. So 2 more runs score for the Guardians. 4 hits in the inning. Fine defensive play to end it. The Orioles need some offense in a hurry.
Yep. Could definitely tell this is another L for us today. Man, 6-10 to start the season. 16 games in, we only got 6 wins. We need our pitchers back. We need our hitters, more so Gunnar, to get it together, man. But, yeah.
Here. And the O's down 6-0 in the 6th. Logan Allen spun a gem through 5 for Cleveland. 1 single by Cedric Mullins, 2 walks by Mullins and Jordan Westburg, and those are the only Orioles to reach safely. It's Rutschman, O'Neill, Henderson, 3rd time through the Orioles trying to solve it. You mentioned the approach earlier, Jim, of not necessarily meeting the location of the ball with the plane of the bat. And Logan Allen has been able to get a lot of weak contact tonight. Barely scraping 90, 91 miles per hour.
Well, but again, you know, we see when he gets ready to throw, you're going to see a rectangle, and that's where he's been pitching, all around that rectangle. Have there been some maybe balls a little bit off the plate? Yep. But sometimes if you're around the plate, you earn those pitches more so than if you're the ball out of your hand.
Rutschman flatly over to 3rd.
No, hey, that's just a curveball. It's not a great curveball. I mean, it's doesn't have really great spin. It was thigh high in the middle of the plate. Orioles just not able to time his deliveries. Now, again, maybe there's some deception there. So 90's not 90. Maybe or they hides the ball enough where you don't pick it up really quickly. One thing he does, if you watch his windup, he does really close his front shoulder, his right shoulder. So I just don't think you see it. Cody Ashley looking on. And that ball right on the corner.
Orioles dugout wondering, where is the jolt of life going to come from? Where's the energy going to come from? They've really had a hard time crawling back in games this season.
Well, he did it Saturday. You know, again, you'd like to stay close enough. They were down 3-0. Today it was 4-0 going into the fifth.
Outside to O'Neill, it's 2-2. Tyler has flied out to left, grounded out to short, and he's in a full count now. Might be the last couple of batters for Allen with Sewald warming.
Yeah, another addition to last year's best bullpen in the American League.
In on the hands, O'Neill swings at ball 4.
Yeah, he throws enough balls away, and then he comes in on your hands. You're down 6-0. You know, ideally, you'd like to, if he's going to walk you, you'd like to take it. A couple of early walks tonight, and there's a curveball that just fools him.
Well, 6 strikeouts for Logan Allen. 3 of them have been looking.
Something told me to put Allen down for strikeouts, and I didn't do it.
Fouled out tonight. Go back to the words Brandon Hyde used this weekend. Wanted to see consistent and competitive at-bats. You saw that yesterday for much of the game. The Orioles scored in 5 of the first 6 innings. You saw it in the 5th and 6th innings on Saturday. From that perspective, he will be disappointed so far tonight. Henderson will help the cause, though, with the base hit up the middle. And the Orioles' second hit, both by their left-handed hitters.
Finally, we got a hit. Finally.
Hit this year is over 100 miles per hour, and that is going to get him. So again, it's just a nice approach outside third of the plate, right back up the middle. You got to start somewhere, so hopefully you'll start with a single up the middle. Stephen Vogt says nice job. He leaves with a 6-0 lead.
5 2/3 scoreless for Logan Allen. A terrific start, one of the best of his young major league career. And the guards turn to Paul Sewald.
Like I said, take this loss, move on to tomorrow's game. So we got Kramer pitching for us tomorrow versus Williams. The hope is that we do better with our bullpen tomorrow, and our batters handle business when we go up to plate. So, man, let's just see how we finish the rest of this game.
5 last year. Only gives up 2 hits, a couple of early walks, strikes out 6 as Kevin Brown did. And again here, I mean, the master of throwing all his different pitches, sweeper more than the 4-seamer, occasional sinker and cutter. And meanwhile, his offense gets him 6 runs. So Paul Sewald will come on. And a guy, I mean, he's not going to light up the radar gun, but he can get you outs. Big sweeper, 60% fastballs, 40% the sweepers. It always strikes out more than he walks, and again, not overpowering, but just gets people out. And there are the numbers, 7 2/3 innings.
Facing Mountcastle, who struck out. We sent an error. We saw those outs by pitch time for Allen, and the location. There were a lot of outs in the strike zone. That may be the frustrating part to the Orioles. Lots of pitches that were in the middle of the plate, and the Orioles just didn't get good wood on them.
But all different speeds. You can see, well, I mean, right here, I mean, this is 89, 90. Yet he moves the ball around. So that's one of the arts of pitching. Big guy, deceptive. I mean, 84 saves the last 4 years.
34-year-old from Vegas strikes out Mountcastle, and he cleans up the 6th inning for Logan Allen. In a brilliantly pitched game by Cleveland through 6.
Someone was telling me he was going to strike out Mountcastle. I was just waiting for it to happen. I was just knew it was happening. It's like, man, like patiently waiting, watching this. I'm like, he's gonna strike him out. Definitely a frustrating game today. But what can you do? What can you do?
Twenty-second year at Major League Baseball has been doing this. Every uniform personnel in the league wearing 42. And I know you said, Jim, you didn't have really a chance to meet Jackie, but to get to meet his wife, Rachel, who is still alive at 102. And she has done an extraordinary job carrying on his legacy and Jackie's fight for civil rights.
Yeah, pretty remarkable. And you know, I mean, again, when you come to the big leagues under the circumstances that he did, just think about it. You're the only African-American player in the big leagues. Of all those players.
Larry Doby for the Cleveland franchise. Of course, then the Indians was the first player to break the color barrier in the American League. Also a Hall of Famer, an extraordinary player. This is popped up by Manzardo. Gunnar Henderson is not even close to his usual shortstop spot on this windy night. This has been an initiative for Major League Baseball now, number 42, retired throughout MLB on the 50th anniversary of his debut in 1997. First annual Jackie Robinson Day was 2004. 2009 all on-field personnel began to wear number 42. This is the anniversary of his historic opening day with the Brooklyn Dodgers. Everybody wearing 42, and the Orioles will turn from one 42 to another here in the 7th. Scott Blewett, who was just added to the roster today, claimed off waivers yesterday from Minnesota, making his Oriole debut on this Tuesday night.
Actually pitching pretty well. I was talking to Mike Elias. I said, was it the numbers? I mean, he's got a good arm, spin rate. He said, no, he can pitch multiple innings. And maybe he'll get a chance to do that tonight. So, former second-round pick by Kansas City back in 2014.
Out of Charles W. Baker High School in beautiful Baldwinsville, New York.
Was that like close to your hometown?
Syracuse suburb.
Oh,
Syracuse-born Scott Blewett.
So he bleeds orange.
He bleeds orange.
And he's wearing orange.
Yes. Huge Syracuse basketball fan. And look at that. He looks pretty good in orange.
Well, that's a nice little splitter. What a key to pitching. Throw strike one, strike two, a great breaking ball, and then the splitter, the bottom drops out.
Well, that's a pitch that revitalized his career. He learned that pitch, he said, 2 years ago. He was pitching for the Chinese Professional Baseball League's Uni-President 7-Eleven Lions. And he said, I had a changeup, and it really wasn't a very good one. Learned the splitter. He said, it's now my best pitch. Along with the slider and the fastball. And last season, the league hit 1 for 16 off that splitter.
And you can see the grip.
2-0 for Arias. There's a fastball strike.
On the corner. Yeah, contrary to public belief, you can make a good pitch with your fastball on a hitter's count and get away with it. Stay out of the middle of the plate. And this guy got big time power to the opposite field.
Another fastball on a hitter's count. And Blewett retires the first two batters he faces in his Oriole debut. So a bright spot on this Tuesday night for the former Baldwinsville Bee.
Okay, Blewett, debut, getting it done. really just want us to even just get one run on the board. That's what I really want. But it may not happen. We'll see. But I'm already just ready to move on to tomorrow's game.
Orioles down 6-0 in the 7th. Joey Cantillo is the new Cleveland pitcher.
Oh, there are the numbers.
And Cantillo, one of two lefties in the bullpen, misses to Gary Sanchez. So Paul Sewald faced one batter. Ryan Mountcastle struck him out. Lane Thomas pinch hit for Nolan Jones. He's in center. Martinez over to right.
Again, not a hard thrower, but in the best bullpen in the American League, as they were last year.
And here's ball 3 from Cantillo. He's a rookie last year, 8 starts, 1 relief outing in the regular season, and then through 3 games in relief in the postseason. Well, they did not go terribly well. Game 1 of the ALCS against the Yankees, Cantillo threw 4 wild pitches and also had 4 walks in that series in an inning in the 3rd over 2 games. Into the shortstop hole, Rocchio in time retires Gary Sanchez.
Yep, they got a lefty. Had McNally, Cuellar, Flanagan, McGregor. You play him in the hole, he hits it hard, and the short stip standing right there.
So look at this bullpen.
Yeah.
The worst ERA by far is the guy who was the best reliever in baseball the last 3 years, Emmanuel Clase.
And there's nothing wrong with him, you know, physically. Confidence. A lot of balls in the middle of the plate, still throwing 98, 99.
2.25 ERA coming in. This is how they won last year. The starting rotation was better than it is right now. 24th rotation area, but not a ton better. But they would get you into the bullpen and they just kill you. And Cleveland, they're going to use the same formula. Mullins up into the jet stream. It's going to go. Cedric Mullins will touch them all. He had the Orioles' first walk, first hit, and now their first RBI and run scored.
Well, great to see, because again, if under 200 last year against lefties, why wouldn't you play him if you're Brandon Hyde? You're hitting everybody. And if you want to stay in the lineup, get some hits. Hang in there against the lefties. And Great fastball hitter. That's exactly what he gets, and then he gets it up into the tailwind, and the Orioles are on the board.
He is off to some start. My gosh. Laureano to right field. That is a foul ball.
Well, we've seen all night long balls really carrying. Low fastball, not a hard thrower. Really great swing. And it just blows right out of here.
So the first Oriole to 4 homers on the year. He's done it all tonight. A day that is obviously significant for Cedric Mullins, as just about every year it's picked up a little this year. There's been a shrinking number of African American players on major league rosters. Cedric has talked about the opportunity Jackie Robinson's provided before. He'll hit the homer hose with the Orioles' first run. Talking about Jackie last year, said it's important for everybody to know how he persevered and created opportunity for players across the world. Cedric Mullins has had some really special moments on Jackie Robinson Day in his career, wearing that number 42. He's carried the Orioles offense tonight. 2 of the 3 hits, the first walk. Remember last year, I mean, this is a play that if you watch our broadcast open, you see over and over. This incredible catch against the Twins on Jackie Robinson Day. One of the best in a career filled with 5-star efforts.
Cole Urban liked it. The more you see that play, you realize why Cedric's such a great outfielder. He's playing shallow, but he goes to where the ball is probably going to reach its apex. If he goes across, the ball's by him for a double. And that's what the great outfielders have. Really good changeup right there. Gets Laureano out.
Cedric was asked last year where that catch ranks. He said, I'll give it number 1. The fellas gave it 1. I'll go right there with them. So
how about
he gave that the best catch.
How about all the great plays he's made over the wall for a little guy?
That was off the Twins' Kyle Farmer, the catch you just saw last year, Jackie Robinson Day. Jorge Mateo takes a strike. Cole Irvin said after the game he was going to buy Cedric a bottle of whiskey as a gift. Irvin was pitching the year before. One of those plays you referenced in Minnesota when Cedric robbed Byron Buxton of a 3-run homer.
Where is Cole? Did he go?
He is in Korea.
Yeah, I didn't even know Korea or Japan. Yeah. Well, wish him he was a good guy. I mean, really nice man.
Mateo lashes one to right. That'll get down. There's the first hit of the year for Jorge Mateo, and he'll make it a double.
That's right. You talk about whiskey, he hits a double. There you go. Good to see. I mean, impact player if he can get on base, because you know he's going to steal bases. Not when you're down 6-1, but nice swing.
So 2 extra base hits for the Orioles in the inning, their first 2 of the game. And it's going to be Cade Smith taking over here as the Orioles put a little life into this game in the 7th. Smith against Westburg when we come back.
I will gladly take Mullins hitting that home run. Just mad I didn't take him for a home run on a bet or total bases. I have a few picks with total bases, and I did not think to put Mullins down. I don't know why I didn't, but yeah, I should have. I was definitely thinking about Westburg. Didn't do that. Didn't add him on there. Mountain Castle, I thought about it, but I didn't pick any of my my O's players for for a pick today. But what can you do? I'll just gladly at least take the one run so far on the board and hope that we get a couple more before the game ends. We'll see what happens.
Cedric Mullins with some more amazing memories on April the 15th.
And Cage Smith's going to come on. I mean, last year, incredible year, 6-1, 191, and taking off right where he was.
And Jordan Westberg hits one really hard, but right to second. And every time the Orioles put the ball hard on the ground tonight, it's gone right into a glove. That was to Gabriel Arias. Well, Mullins puts the Orioles on the board on this Jackie Robinson day. .42, forever retired, immortalized, and worn by every member of uniform personnel on this April 15th. Let's go down to Melanie Newman for more on Jackie Robinson Day.
Hey, Kevin, I cannot encourage people who are watching this broadcast, really our country, to dig into this history because Baltimore has ties. Jackie Robinson, 10 years after his debut, started his NAACP Fight for Freedom Fund right here in Baltimore. It was part of a coast-to-coast tour for him to raise funds and awareness, trying to help out young black people who are trying to approach a higher education. Now, you mentioned the numbers a moment ago. We are at a historic low in African-American representation in the sport, just above 6%. There were 57 on the opening day Major League rosters for 2024 last year. Now, when they started tracking this in 1991, it was 18%. And some of that we look at where the economy is going, the unaffordability that this sport has become because of all of these travel ball situations, these elite teams that you are seeing. And then you also add the fact that the accessibility, things have changed to streaming, you have to have different packages. It's just a different world. Major League Baseball has been very aware of this. They've really wanted to go after it from the start. Del Matthews, who's the vice president of development, has actually been encouraged that we could start to see those numbers change. It starts with guys like Enrique Bradfield Jr. in the minors. He said 20% of the top 50 picks last year in the draft were African American. Those are the highest numbers they've seen in a long time. So let's look forward to some change here, because this impacts so many people across the board. 30% of our players are Latin players. Jackie impacted that too. It was Minnie Minoso who came here with Chicago and had to rally against staying in a segregated hotel. It affected everybody who was not white, but it looks like those numbers are going to come back to form.
Yeah, it's some great context, Mel. This has been an important issue for baseball, and MLB.com had some numbers here. 41% of players who appeared on opening day rosters from diverse backgrounds, whether that's Latino, Black, Asian, Pacific Islander, Native American. So there is obviously been a huge rise in the internationalism of the game, but it is important for Major League Baseball that this is not a sport that excludes Black Americans. And you heard Mel give some of the numbers. 30% of the players in the opening round of last year's draft were Black, which is the highest percentage along with 2022 since 1992. So the league does feel like they're making some inroads there and making the game more accessible with programs like the Jackie Robinson Baseball League.
You know, they have all the inner city programs. You know, try to encourage youngsters to start playing baseball.
RBI program, which the Orioles are heavily involved with here in Baltimore. As Bo Naylor knocks it out of play. Leadoff single by Angel Martinez. A 6-1 Cleveland lead on this Jackie Robinson day.
Well, what a night he's having. 3 hits.
Walked in the third, sac fly in the fifth, sac bunt in the sixth for Naylor. A cool 0 for 0 with 3 productive plate appearances and a 2-2 count here. Scott Blewett, the pitcher, making his Oriole debut, and he's faced 3 batters, strikeout, flyout, base hit. You know, Scott Blewett, mentioned from Baldwinsville, New York, born in Syracuse, which many are calling the new hotbed of Major League Baseball, Syracuse, New York area. You know that?
No, I'm not aware of that, Kevin.
Well, you think about Patrick Corbin, Cicero North Syracuse, CNS North Star, World Series champion with the Nationals. Josiah Gray went to Lemoyne College. Mighty Dolphins, recently D1. Jason Grilli, longtime reliever, former Pirates closer. He was for Baldwinsville, as was Jason's dad, Steve Grilli, who pitched in the majors as well.
Where's Aaron Judge from?
Not Syracuse.
Okay.
Steal for Martinez. Why Aaron Judge?
Well, because talking about a hotbed of baseball.
Oh, yeah.
Not that they weren't good players, but they.
That was a strikeout, by the way. Naylor did swing, so 1 out. Hey, you know, frigid little Syracuse, New York, not so little. Has produced some good pitchers, some good players in recent years.
So that's what you're trying to say.
Absolutely.
Yeah, okay.
Trying to give Syracuse some
Okay.
love. As for Syracuse University not having a baseball team, they're doing all right. Scott Blewett, actually, talking to him before the game, mentioning that Major League connection, he interviewed Steve Grilli for a high school senior year business project. So he's very well aware of the ties there. And he said the Grillis live about a block from his parents. Steve Grilli, who had a couple of years in the major leagues, longtime owner of this bar in Syracuse called the Change of Pace. And I have to bring up the Change of Pace. We're talking about Syracuse because the best wings I have had on this or any other planet. The Change of Pace in Syracuse, New York. Go to the Change of Pace. Ask for the wings medium garlic. Combine the flavors, get them extra crispy, and they are the best wings you will ever have.
Where is Syracuse? Just in case.
Central New York.
Oh, Central.
Central New York. About a 5-ish hour drive from here. So it's beautiful in the summer. You don't have to go in the winter.
No,
Unless you want to go to the Dome and watch Syracuse basketball.
Yeah. My daughter Jamie went to William Smith Hobart, so I was there in the winter.
You're very familiar with the Central New York winters.
A lot of snow, a lot of bark.
Yes, that is a beautiful school as well, Hobart William Smith. Right center field from Rocchio. O'Neill gets to it. And Martinez will tag and take third on out number 2. Scott would like to recommend, however, Sal's in Baldwinsville for the best wings. I have not been to Sal's, but next time I'm up there, I'm going to take Scott up on his word and try out the wings at Sal's.
You know, I've never had a wing, ever.
What do you mean you've never had a wing?
Never, ever had a wing.
You've never had. Wait a minute.
No, I'm just never have.
You've never had a chicken wing?
No.
Like,
why would I?
Why would you?
Don't they have skin and stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lots of things have skin.
But I don't eat skin.
Apples have skin.
Why eat apples?
You've never had a single chicken wing?
No, never thought about having it.
That is staggering to me. So what kind of chicken do you eat?
White breast.
What about like
fried chicken?
You'll eat fried chicken?
Never had fried chicken.
Never?
Well, I've taken the crust off and.
What is this? What is this? You've taken the crust off?
Yeah. Well, what?
So you're losing the frying part of the fried chicken.
Well, that's why.
Chicken tenders? You had to have had chicken tenders.
Yeah, I have.
All right.
But that's not a chicken wing.
No, I'm. Have you ever turned down the opportunity to have chicken wing?
No, I just choose not even to think of ever having one. Whatever. So I guess I don't want to go. What was the name of that
Change
place?
of pace.
Sal's?
Well, yeah, Sal's. But here's what you got to do. Since you've never had one,
no.
Go to the change of pace. You'll never need to have another wing.
I just wish my changeup was better. Change of pace.
I see.
Yeah, see it?
Yeah, you would have won, what, 269 games?
At least. Yeah, at least one more.
Not a single chicken
Never.
wing. Wow. I'm so glad we found this out. How can I get you to eat a chicken wing this year? That is now my 2025 goal. That's my New Year's resolution.
They have to have
3 months too late.
I don't think it's part of the value menu here at.
I don't think it is, but maybe
somebody has to have them.
By the way, there are good wings in town. There are some very fine Baltimore institutions for chicken wings. Several of them in the Canton area, which I know you frequent. Quan grounds out to Westberg. That ends the inning. A scoreless 8th for chicken wing aficionados. Scott Blewett.
than normal.
Mullins has reached base all 3 times. The rest of the Orioles have combined to reach base 3 times. They were shut down by Logan Allen, 5 2/3, 2 hits, 2 walks, struck out 6. Paul Sewell got it out. Cantillo got 2, gave up the run. And Cade Smith returns for the 8th inning after a base hit by, or a ground out by Jordan Westberg in the 7th. Ball that was hit at 109 miles per hour right to second. And Smith with a strike to Rutschman.
Yeah, hit it as well as you'd like to, but right at somebody. Well, 73% fastballs, and it's a good one, 95 miles per hour. They came in, they're now 1 for 18 on that fastball this year.
42 for the Orioles.
Hadley strikeout, pop out, ground out as a right-handed hitter against Allen.
And there's the splitter. He also has got a sweeper to go with it.
Cade Smith's 16th rounder by the Twins in 2017. Pitched in their minors for a few years and then got released. Ended up as a free agent, signing with Cleveland in 2020. Out of nowhere last year, amazing rookie year. Oddly enough, the 16th round in the 2017 draft. We mentioned it earlier. That's the round where the Orioles originally selected Logan Allen. He didn't sign. The Twins selected Smith with the first pick of the 16th round as he strikes out Rutschman. And then 2 picks later, the Padres took Joey Cantillo. Both those players did sign and would end up in Cleveland. So Smith, Cantillo, and Allen. 3 players all in the 16th round of this draft have found themselves in the game tonight and on this very impressive Cleveland pitching staff. And it's an oddity, but if there's a tie-in, it's that this Cleveland program can do really special things with guys who are not heralded pitchers.
Well, they teach them how to pitch. What do you do? I mean, a lot of organizations do that. You know, you guys, you and Ben were talking about how guys have gone to Houston. What do you do best? What do you maybe need to improve? They all throw strikes. I mean, Smith has an outstanding arm. When you're throwing 96, there's Matt Bowman. And then you got a splitter that goes down, you got a riding fastball, and then you got a sweeper, and you can throw them over, and you're only facing a guy one time, you're going to probably have success.
O'Neill down on that sweeper. 10th strikeout for Guardian pitchers.
And that's just a hanging sweeper. But again, spin or maybe trying to do too much with it. I mean, look where this ends up. That's belt high in the middle of the plate. But uppercut swing. You can see him drop the bat. You can see the bat going up. Hoping to intersect with the ball.
Henderson to right field. And that ball's off the fence right near the grounds crew. Oh, so close to his first home run of the year. He'll settle for another extra base hit. And Gunner's got a 2-hit.
Literally thought that he went yard there. I literally thought he had smacked the home run, but oh well.
This is looked like a splitter that stayed up, and he just smokes it off the wall. Just a matter of time.
August 31st, 2022. We were there against Cleveland. His first career hit, a home run.
Well, they kept throwing him low sliders. That's not a really good pitch to throw that you don't quite get inside the lefties from right-handed pitchers. You know what I remember most of that series is the double play. The unassisted double play that he made, and I'm going, boy, this kid is quite an athlete. The agility was amazing.
Yeah, he played short, third, and second right after coming up. Third base and shortstop in 23, and he's stuck at short ever since. Hopefully to stick there for many, many more years as an Oriole. 2 strikes on Mountcastle. So Gunner's got 2 hits. Cedric's got 2 hits. Two of the Orioles, four of the Orioles, five, but Teo's double is the other hit. Castle jams away 95 up and in, or 94.
Yeah. And then because of where the ball is, you can add 5 miles per hour if it's up and in, because you got to hit it out in front. How about Gunnar? This is only what, the 17th time, 18th time that he has hit fourth.
That ball sizzled. That ball's fair, and that's going to be another Orioles run. Ryan Mountcastle has had a nice homestand as he takes this Cade Smith splitter into the left field corner for a run scoring double to make it 6-2.
Yeah, the intention is that split's going to dive bomb like the good one. But when you're late on the fastball and you throw a hanger, you're going to speed the bat up, and that's exactly what he does. And Ryan Mountcastle just smokes it into the corner. There's your second run.
First run, earned run allowed by Cade Smith this year, and the 3 balls the Orioles have put in play against him have all been smoked. Ball 1 now to Gary Sanchez. That's the Orioles' first hit since Saturday with a runner in scoring position. Sanchez to left field, and there's their second. Mountcastle will be waved in, and Stephen Kwok's throw is cut off. So the Orioles putting some real pressure on one of the best relievers in baseball from the last couple of years. Gary Sanchez's second Baltimore hit makes it 6-3.
Well, they're going to force Stephen Vogt to get somebody up in their bullpen, and as good as it is, it's exactly what you want to happen. Take a look right here. I mean, heater up and in. Sanchez has always been a good fastball hitter. And there's your line drive for another RBI.
Gary Sanchez deserves a hit tonight. His groundouts were 108 and 109 off the bat, so he has smoked 3 balls. And the Orioles, in a game where they looked pretty much lifeless an inning ago, suddenly have a tying run in the on-deck circle, and their hottest hitter, Cedric Mullins, at the plate.
That's kind of interesting. You know, you get Logan Allen, and to all his credit, he pitched great. Change speeds, in and out, up and down. Now all of a sudden, you get a power pitcher that's pitching in the middle of the plate, and it looks like batting practice. No disrespect, because this kid had a great year last year. And there's Tim Herron getting loose.
Mullins has had a perfect day at the plate. Takes, wow. My goodness.
Yeah.
Take it and run. Smith last season gave up just 51 hits, 17 walks, and 75 1/3. Struck out 103. It's one of the best seasons by a rookie reliever in franchise history. And how about that streak snapped? Big fastball there, 2-1. He got Cy Young votes last year.
He was really good.
He got us Cy Young vote, but still, that qualifies you for a tied for 9th finish, 5th in Rookie of the Year voting.
Well, he's a big guy, and you know, when you're 6'5" and you can backspin the ball, and you have that good four-seamer, and then you have 2 other pitches, one that drops and the other one that sweeps, and you throw the ball over. But tonight, he's been in the middle of the plate. The Orioles have made him pay for it.
Two for Mullins. Jammed it out of play, just foul. A walk into third broke up the perfect game. A single in the 5th broke up the no-hitter. A home run in the 7th broke up the shutout. And Mullins goes down swinging as Smith finds the hot stuff. The Orioles do make this one a little more interesting, though. Getting deeper into the Cleveland bullpen, as this is a 6-3 game. triple was part of a 3-run Cleveland fifth. This was a game dominated by the Guardians for 6 innings, and the Orioles have made it interesting in the last two. 6-3 game for Matt Bowman to take over.
Yeah, I got the loss yesterday. Came in and you know, I had pitched in the extra inning with a ghost runner. Told him today, I said, let him hit it harder. Little infield roller. My Miles Straw got the win, and again, you know, not a power pitcher, but a strike thrower. A lot of movement.
Strike to Jose Ramirez, and hey, a really nice Oriole debut for Scott Blewett. 1 2/3, 1 hit, struck out 2, 29 pitches, 19 strikes. Showcase that good splitter.
Well, what did Mike Elias said? Can pitch multiple innings. Need somebody like that in the bullpen. Back-to-back cutters.
Another good night for Ramirez. Sac fly, couple of singles. See the Orioles shade him to pull on the infield. Westberg way off the line.
Not as good as that night in Anaheim earlier in the year when he hit 3 home runs. There's their closer. Best closer in baseball the last 3 years.
Jason Stark had a wonderful note. He always has wonderful notes on the Jose Ramirez 3 home run game. It was the game after the Angels gave up 3 home runs to the Cardinals, Ivan Herrera, which meant the Angels were the first team in Major League history to give up a 3-homer game to a player on one team, followed immediately by a 3-homer game to a player on a different team.
Very giving of Ron Washington's pitching staff. Actually, they're off to a pretty good start this year.
They are off to a good start. They've been one of the big surprises in baseball. 9-6.
Well, little trivia question. Which team, well, kind of you already give the answer, but which team leads the MLB in home runs per game?
The Rockies.
No, the Angels.
Oh, it's the Angels. Okay.
Thank you. Yeah.
I actually would not have known that. Maybe not asked the question.
2 a game. Yankees.
Amazing.
Of course, Yankees have hit 24 home runs coming into tonight, and 20 of them at home.
At 4 yesterday, the Yankees. 4 solo shots off Seth Lugo. High pop from Ramirez. And Laureano's got it. Orioles' upcoming schedule brought to you by Science and Kirk. Need a lawyer? Contact Science and Kirk. Visit youhavealawyer.com. Dean Kramer tomorrow night. 6:30 with the Guardians against Gavin Williams. Tomoyuki Sagano and Tanner Bybee matchup Thursday. And then the longtime Cleveland manager Terry Francona back in the game with the Cincinnati Reds. They'll come to town this weekend.
12th best looking manager in baseball.
12th best looking manager.
That's what this did. Apparently did a poll up in Canada, and they told Terry, you know, you were rated the 12th best looking manager in Major League Baseball, and he said, was it Ray Charles or Helen Keller that were on the voting?
Oh, Terry. Santana flies out, 2 down.
So I told Brandon Hyde, I said, you got to be. We voted the consensus, probably number 5. I said, because he looks like Jason Statham, right? The guy that's in all those movies where, he keeps people from getting killed and takes care of all the terrorists and all that.
I've never thought of the Brandon Hyde, Jason Statham comparison.
Yeah. Seriously.
I can sort of see it. Yeah. Brandon Hyde is the transporter. Is that what you're saying? But amazing in crank. Mazzardo takes outside. Orioles, by the way, have 8-9-1 in the 9th against Class A. The do-ups are Laureano, Mateo, Westberg, but you probably see Ryan O'Hearn somewhere in there. Jackson Holiday, Heston Kjerstad, Ramon Urias are also all available off the bench. Ground ball guided to second. Nice pick. Nice inning by Bowman. Oriole bullpen was really good tonight. 4 innings, 1 run between Perez, Blewett, and Bowman. And they got a shot here against a struggling Clase in the ninth.
Bowman did really good on that in that eighth. That spot there. He did really good. I'll take that. But we'll see what happens in this final spot for us. Final at bat, more than likely. We'll see. But yeah, definitely struggled to get to this point. But I'm just glad that we got on the board at the end of the day.
One inning. Hurt his shoulder, and they get Clase, and he's been terrific. Hopefully that'll not be the case tonight.
Cade Smith got touched up in the inning of the third. 3 hits, 2 earned, struck out 3. Clase and the pinch hitter Kerstad. So the Orioles need 2 base runners to have a chance. It'll be Kerstad, Ryan O'Hearn then on deck, and Jordan Westburg. Rutschman will be after that. O'Neill and Henderson further down the line. List of 42s here on Jackie Robinson Day 2025.
Yeah, and everybody's saying, okay, what's going on? Too many balls in the middle of the plate. Lost his confidence. That's what happens. Rally hats on. I'm kind of rooting for the rally bats.
'98 up and in. There's the good cutter from Clase.
Well, good location.
Cy Young voting in the American League last year. Tarek Skubal got every first place vote. Then Seth Lugo. Then Emmanuel Clase, 3rd place finisher as a closer. And frankly, it wasn't a crazy 3rd place finish, even in 74 in the 3rd innings. 47 saves, .61 ERA. It was one of the most dominant seasons of the decade, at least by a closer. But he's 3-2 on Heston Kerstad here.
Well, you get into Zach Britton territory, Fernando Rodney, Dennis Eckersley, a Hall of Famer. When you have an ERA that low.
3-2 leading off the 9th. And he struck him out.
Yeah, you better be able to hit the high heat. cutter, whatever. I mean, it's always going to be high velocity. You can throw, and there it is, 98 miles per hour up in the zone.
Ryan O'Hearn pitch hit maestro. Grabs a bat here with 1 out in the 9th. Orioles 2 base runners away from the tying run. And O'Hearn jams this one into right, and Martinez dropped it. In fact, it hit his hand. So O'Hearn stung it, and then it stung Martinez.
He hit that ball hard.
And Cleveland's going to send an athletic trainer out to check on Angel Martinez.
Yeah, shaking a little bit, certainly catchable. I mean, plenty of time, but it misses the glove, hits that right hand. Watch the ball sink right there, and then of course off the bottom of the glove actually gets the forearm, up by the wrist. Don't see that very often.
Well, there's one as Cleveland works on the right forearm. That looks like Chad Wolf, assistant athletic trainer, along with Steve Vogt. Well, you want to pinch hit. Ryan O'Hearn's your man. Last 6 years, most pinch hits in the American League, 27. Last year, he had 7 pinch hits, and he told us before the game he'd be ready for Emmanuel Clase late in the game. Kind of figured that would be high up on the list of assignments for him. So now the tying run is just 1 spot away.
Yeah, Westberg could get on, and you can see walked his second time. That 4-3 was a rocket. Nobody playing on the right side of the infield other than Santana holding the runner on. There is the second baseman almost playing behind the bag. This legally to the right side.
Strike at 99. O'Hearn, by the way, you want to hit off Clase, he's your man. He's now 4 for 10 career against him. Westberg's never faced him. Westberg pops it up. This will be Arias for the second out. So Adley Rutschman, the Orioles' last hope on this blustery Tuesday night. 6-0 Cleveland after 6. Those got 1 in the 7th, 2 in the 8th. At the very least, you get into Smith, Clase, and a little more of the Cleveland bullpen. Orioles big relievers rested for tomorrow, but they'd like to keep this going. Bring the tying run to the plate. That should be a pitch clock violation. He released that well after the 0, but Lance Barksdale didn't call it.
You can see, obviously, I mean, when you're throwing 98, 99, no problem throwing strikes. Problem this year is that a lot of them have been in the middle of the plate.
And the Orioles down to their final strike. That was Clase's problem in the postseason last year. 8 runs in 8 innings, 2 losses, a blown save, 3 home runs in the postseason after allowing 2 in the regular season. And some of those location troubles have carried over, but pretty good tonight. Adley trying to hang in there.
I think the other thing is, I mean, you can see Verstad strikes out on a high fastball. Westberg pops up a high fastball, but he's around the zone so much. and you know he throws so hard, you got to get the bat going that you chase out of the zone a little bit.
That ball struck well to left. Stephen Kwan, Adley's old college teammate, takes it away from him to end the game. That's one Oregon State Beaver robbing another. And that's the end of this series opener on a Tuesday. It's the Guardians 6 and the Orioles 3.
Yeah, the Gold Glover takes care of the final out for the Orioles. That was not, with this wind, a routine play. Wind blowing out that way.
We had a decent, fairly decent second half, but you know, at least we got on the board. At least we got 3 runs. But end of the day, another L. 10th loss of the season. 16 games in, 6-10. Well, we'll see what happens tomorrow night for tomorrow. So, but other than that, I'm out. I'll let y'all. Maybe I'll live stream the game.